with computers these days, you have USB hubs you plug up, and then you have all your external hard drives. If you want any fancy or, well, cheap lighting, you know, I have a USB mic, you know, and then SD, not SD, but SanDisk or other like thumb drives or SD ones. I even have some rechargeable batteries for my mouse. And these add clutter. So what I did was I wanted to raise my Mac as well as have all these things tucked away but also easy to access and maintain. So I started by taking a piece of particle board and I cut it into this box. Now for the front panel I had to do a lot of chiseling because I got a second USB hub, and here's the weird thing. This brand is Sabrent. Excellent brand. You can get these in USB 2 or 3, and they each port has its own individual button, which is nice. And there's a light that lights up to know which ones are on. However, I bought the same item twice. The first time I bought it, I got this cable, this hub with a 1-foot cable. The second one I bought, a 2-foot cable. Go figure, huh? So anyway, I basically built this box by chiseling, and I put an internal shelf. I painted, and I also took the effort to put self-adhesive foam padding. Now the way I built this box is I have these screws securing. Let me loosen them quickly. I can actually put those screws out of the way for now. Okay. So this panel comes off, so if I ever need to do anything with the USB hubs, I can. Now, I did build this a little tight. If you look here, you have two pieces here, and this way the hub is going to be secure against there. I have the groove to sit, and then it extends further down to allow the USB cables to come and curve out. Now I have 3 holes here, so I can have 3 USB ports on the outside, but I realized that everything is changing to USB-C, and my iPad and hopefully my next iPhone will have the USB-C, so in the center I'm going to put a USB-C port. However, this is cut for a regular USB and not the smaller USB-C, which is not a problem because this way I can always accommodate, and then they're also the same size opening, so I can put anything that size or smaller. The trick is securing it to where it won't, you know, fall out. So I have 4 extension or extensor cables that are USB 3. Here is the one I more recently bought with a much longer cable, which means one of these extensors will be plugged into the other hub, as long as I can plug it in correctly. There. So now I'm going to have these 2 each individually plug into the back of the computer. Since I like a wired keyboard versus wireless, you know, and I have 4 USB outlets in the back of my iMac. One is used by the keyboard, so then I'm going to have each hub plugging individually into a port. And then I'm going to have, where is it? Let's see. My USB-C port. So this will plug individually as well. It's going to mean that I'm going to have a couple, one on each of these hubs that will not have anything in it for the time being. But I'm going to have a port that plugs into an external hard drive on each one. Another port that will basically plug into the front. And as you can see, it fits securely in here. I could always put, I'm going to see how it is in there. It might be tight that I don't need to do anything, but if it does, I'll secure it a little better. Now for the center one, I'm going to try a few different things. Even though the weather's getting cold, I ate a popsicle and just to have the wood as a spacer. I also have pieces of self-adhesive craft foam, little slivers, that I can use as a wedge. Now, looking at the USB ports, you know, the little small thumb drives, you have a top portion and a bottom portion. So I'm debating if I want to put it in where the top portion faces inwards, or if I want it to where it's facing outwards. So either like this or like that. Probably doesn't make a difference. I might do it this way because this way that's a center of attention. So what I'm going to do is get the other one in there. So when I cut these, I put them at an angle along with this at a slight angle, because the box piece, I fit this to taper to the shape of the base of the Mac. So now I'm going to put one cable is going to be wedged here. So you can see it's fits nicely. There is a slight gap. I'm debating if I want to like put a piece of self-adhesive craft foam or not. And then the other one, see, it's nice that I chiseled an area for the cable. So I didn't try putting both on here, but this one will have to bend tightly. And let's see. So that's how these are going to fit in there. And I have these two panels. So now I need to figure this one out. So let me play around quickly with that. So I put a piece of the popsicle stick just to give that piece that broke off when I was chiseling, just to basically secure that a little better. And I cut a strip of craft foam, the self-adhesive kind, in black color. So this will go here, so then from about here is where I need to cut. Okay, so I cut a piece of the craft foam, and then I'm going to get it right along the edge. And let's see. Perfect. So now I made this thicker. And if I have to force it in there a little bit, at least it's squishy. If I need to, I can always add the second layer. But I use some cheaper super glue that, you know, you have different kinds of the same brand, and I didn't realize that they do dry slower. So this one, it's not fully dry, so I don't know if it's safe to work on that piece yet or not. So while I'm waiting for that to dry, I can go ahead and get the other things set up. So this is a small opening, so the hard drives are going to have to slide in from here. So I'm going to move this out of the way. And I think that's my, let's see if it says it on there on the back. Nope. It would be nice if they, manufacturers took the courtesy of writing the gigabytes on these days, at least somewhere. Anyway, so I'm going to put this in here. Actually, I can just put them down that way, upside down. That's basically going to be a shelf. But to get the cable through, I will have to feed it from this end. You know, I made some areas to be nice and snug, so I don't have to worry about, okay, so I plugged it in there. I'm going to have this upside down because this is the underside, so then it will be right side up in the hub. So now I have it in there. And so that's like a shelf, if you can see. Let me get some light in there. Anyway, you get the point. So, man, these are dusty. And that's one thing I won't have to worry about, all this dust settling on them. So I'll raise my Mac and free up a lot of clutter off the desktop. I can't wait. So now I have the other one plugged in. So now I can actually set these, well, before I set it horizontally, I'm going to show you what else I'm doing. So these USB hubs, you know, what's sad is I bought these years ago, 2 of these, and they're like USB 2, and I wanted USB 3. They took away, this cable's too short for what I'm doing. And you look at this compared to the newer one, and you're like, why do they make these so bulky? It's so annoying. So this brand, Kinging, whatever, what's up with them, you know? Anyway, so these are going to be sitting in here. So they're just going to be sitting, and I have it secured so they won't come out. And this one I recessed, not just for that, but if I need to, I can loop wires around them if they're too long, so then they're out of the way. So anyway, now these wires for the external hard drives, they may be too long, but I'll worry about that when I get to them. So now I have 2 of these, which I'm going to plug in to the closer end. And then I'm going to set these up as a RAID. And I also bought a couple more, which I need to peel open. And on the other one, I'm going to set up as a second RAID. So what's going to be nice is I'm going to have a couple small 64 gigabyte RAID external hard drives, basically, flash drives. Except these are USB 2s, and everything else here is USB 3, except for the USB-C cable. So as a consequence, some of these are going to operate faster than others, and since it's only 64 gigs, these should be fine. So now I need to get these rigged up to the USB hubs along with the extension cables and see if I can go ahead and get the USB-C cable mounted in place. Before I continue, you could always affix a label to the 2 flash drives and then label them. So if you have one of these for, like, say, banking, the other one for stories or whatever, if you're writing something, you can always have them labeled, so if you ever have to access the inside, it helps you with knowing which one is rated for what. So that's one thing you can consider doing as well. So the cable coming out of the USB hubs, they had to go in the shelf where the 2 external hard drives are. So now when I rig this up, also these cables for the external hard drives are, you know, this thing is a backing for it, and then they're plugging into here, which isn't working. So I'm actually going to have to modify that as well. So I'm going to unplug each of these drives. I have to remember that one's the 5 and that's the 4, I believe. Okay, so then these cables are going to go in through and plug it in that way. And these 2 appear secure, but this middle one doesn't, so I'm going to have to reinforce that a little better while I work on the drives as well. Let me first see about getting this in here. Okay, yeah, so that will need better reinforcement. So let me play with that a little bit. Okay, I did end up reinforcing this with super glue. It's still drying. I have a little piece of paper underneath to make sure it doesn't stick to the desk. So now I can go ahead and, let's see, I want this wire out of the way, that wire out of the way, that one fully fed through the bottom, and and oh, this wire, I wanted it out of the way. There's the paper. And this is going to go like that. And then I'll worry about these. Except this one, I want to make sure it's going to be tightly strung. Just so, you know, it has enough time to dry. And now I can go ahead and secure this piece on. So where are my screws? There they are. Oops, I have debris. So what's nice is these USB hubs are the right exact same width as the particle board, which is around 5/8 of an inch. Oh, look at that. That's nice and secure. Which means this should secure really tightly. Then you want to press down just to make sure that it is going to not leave a gap on the edge. So let me go ahead and secure these and then we'll show you how it looks. So here's how it looks from the front. Now I can go ahead and finish the innards. So we have these two USB hubs. I'm going to keep them out of the way for now. These are good. I can always rig up something here to secure them in place, like those little things that go along wires when you run them along a wall. So I'll have to get some of those. In the meantime, I can tuck the cable in there, and that cable as well. I can tuck it in there. Let's see, what's this one for? Oh, that's for the external hard drive. So I'm going to let's see, run this underneath there. Okay, and then I think that's the 5 terabyte. I can always unplug them and switch them. So then this will go like that. And then this one, let's see, this cable, slide it in. It's actually better to feed the hard drive from the back, because then if I ever want to buy the same brand with the same connection, just a larger capacity, I can always just swap them out that way from the back. And it might be good if I put it in the right orientation. So let's see. So now this can go in like that. And then this cable, it's getting tight, which is nice. Like that. I have this cable from one of the hubs. That's the stupid thing, is that juncture. But at least with the other one, I would be able to get it in there. So one of those hubs won't be that way, but at least it's secure there. So now we have that. And we have these two that I'll just stick in there. There we go. Oops, I don't want to drop the hard drives. Now I can set my Mac on there. I also, let me reach. I also took a piece of non-adhesive craft foam, shaped like the Mac but smaller, the base, as just a little padding so that this paint won't stick and leave residue on the Mac. So let me go ahead and set the Mac on here, plug these up, and we'll see what we have. So I went ahead and I set this up here. So this button controls that port, that button, that port. The second one here controls my 4 terabyte hard drive. The second one here controls my 5 terabyte hard drive. And then this one controls one of the RAIDs I set up, and this one controls the other one. Although I haven't quite set them up yet, I need to. So if I turn this one on, and I have this light, so now I plug this in, And voila. Same thing. I have this port here. You know, I can turn it on and off. Same thing with this port, and I can plug in this. Now, I did have to secure this one with super glue, so I'm being a little careful. And then the same thing with these hard drives. And the last one is redundant until I decide what I can do for that. And then I have the USB-C cable. I hope you enjoyed this video and found this very useful at propping up your Mac while creating your own peripherals for your USB devices and keeping things tucked away and less clutter on your desktop. Thanks for watching. Enjoy!